Coming up on today's show, Jessie Bates had some really interesting words to share with the media yesterday, potentially hinting at another roster addition on the way. So we'll break that down. Plus, Atlanta did sign 2 wide receivers, and they added 4 new limited owners. So we'll catch you up on all the news. But before we get to all that good stuff, you know I love to look at the YouTube analytics and compare Falcons Today to Saints Now, and they have surpassed us in subscribers for the month of May, but we have closed the gap from earlier this month. We are within 50 subs on the dot. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so. Be a part of 51 new subscribers to take down Saints Now. But let's start things off by talking about Jessie Bates, who spoke to the media on Tuesday following their OTA session, and he hinted at another roster addition on the way. Joe Patrick, who covers the team, tweeted out Falcons safety Jessie Bates talking about the team's pass rush and defensive unit, saying, quote, "I don't think Terry Fontenot is done." And I loved when I saw this because immediately I knew Jessie Bates, he's one of us, right? He is a member of Falcons Today, and he is on board with adding another pass rusher, adding someone on the defensive side of the football, because there are some good pieces on this defense, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for Grady Jarrett's return, but he's 31 coming off a torn ACL. Super pumped about the linebacker core, like inside Caden Ellis, Troy Anderson, Nate Landman, AJ Terrell, Jessie Bates, Pro Bowl guys in your secondary, but not a lot of help at the pass rushing position. And I'm not quite sure if Jessie Bates, who is a leader of this team, a highly paid player, and a well-respected guy in the locker room and across the league, if he knows something and he's got Terry Fontenot's ear, or if he's kind of just one of the people and he's just like, well, surely they're going to add someone because we lost our top 2 sack leaders from a season ago and we're banking on rookie production and then some rising sophomores. Like, that's a scary bet to make for a team that's poised to win right now after signing Kirk Cousins. So I want to believe that this is Jessie Bates going, listen, Twitter heroes, there's reinforcements on the way. I've got good intel, and it's not the 2 wide receivers they signed on Monday and Tuesday. Don't worry. So looking at the top defensive free agents just across all positions, which, by the way, these guys also make up like top 15 free agents, period, offense and defense. There's really no more pass rushers out there outside of Calais Campbell, who I've got, I wouldn't say concerns about, but just like questions about his fit on this team after numerous additions at his position. They signed James Smith-Williams. They drafted Brandon Dorlus. Like, those are guys at defensive end. Zach Harrison's coming up. To me, all those roster additions signaled they're ready to go with a different guy at defensive end and reset the clock a little bit. But if you're looking to add a pass rusher, there's no one else out there better than Calais Campbell. Maybe Yannick Ngakoue, but Campbell had a better 2023 season than Ngakoue did. As for just overall best player available mode in free agency, it is Justin Simmons. And honestly, I don't think it's close. Stephon Gilmore is probably a nearby-ish second. But Simmons comes off a really strong year in Denver. 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, look at that. 5 interceptions, 6 interceptions. Justin Simmons is criminally underrated in the National Football League. He has 2 Pro Bowls to his name, and that is not nearly enough for a guy that has led the NFL in interceptions since being drafted in round 3 out of Boston College. So if you want to add just the best defensive free agent on the board, Jesse, here's your running mate, Justin Simmons. And could you imagine how fun of a safety tandem it would be? Jessie Bates and Justin Simmons? I mean, 2, in my eyes, all-pro caliber players. And I like DeMarco Hellams, but I'm not going to stand here and argue that DeMarco Hellams is an upgrade over Justin Simmons. So if Atlanta feels like they can't get after the quarterback and they can't get a lot of pass rushing pressure, well, at least make it really difficult for the quarterback to find an open guy. And that can be done with 2 all-pro caliber safeties in Jessie Bates and Simmons. Now, which free agent do you want to sign? Give me your name down below in the comment section. Of all the guys we looked at so far, which free agent would you like to sign? For me, it's the guy I've been talking about and oozing and glazing over. I think Justin Simmons would be the best possible signing. And is it the biggest need for Atlanta? No, I don't think it is. I think pass rusher is a bigger need. I think cornerback is a bigger need. But at this stage, I don't think there is a pass rusher or a cornerback that amounts to how impactful Justin Simmons is. And like I was just saying, if you're not gonna have a top 10 pass rushing unit, you're gonna need a really strong safety and a really strong secondary to stay in coverage with all these wide receivers. So why not get another elite safety like Justin Simmons? So hopefully Jessie Bates is right about Terry Fontenot having a trick up his sleeve and us getting another addition to this roster, because this defense is questionable. And maybe it works out, and maybe Zach Harrison, Clark Phillips, Braylon Trice, like all these young guys have really impactful seasons. But I think every fan base has been down that path before where everyone's super high off of the draft, and they're like, all these guys are Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl players. They're all going to be super impactful rookies. And then the season rolls around, and a lot of teams are like, oh, we forgot they're rookies, and they're not as impactful as we thought they would be. All right, switch gears now. Let's talk about some of the roster additions that have been made. The Atlanta Falcons added 2 wide receivers, Daylen Baldwin and Odieu Hiliare. So let's talk about Daylen Baldwin first, maybe a little bit more recognizable. He was a UDFA in 2022 out of Michigan, initially joined the Browns, was on the Browns practice squad for a while, even got elevated up to their active 53-man roster. 2 grabs, 25 yards in his career. Now, last year, he was with the Minnesota Vikings for the second half of the season. He was waived a few weeks ago by Minnesota, so the Falcons claim him. The other addition they made was Odieu Hiliare, UDFA out of Bowling Green. He was invited to Falcons rookie minicamp, and kudos and bravo to him for landing a spot on the 90-man roster after just being a rookie minicamp invite, not even a UDFA signing. So really impressive stuff. Definitely shows just how committed he is to working hard. Offers some special teams value. That's kind of the scouting report on him coming out of Bowling Green. And with the new special teams rules, I think every team should be looking into exploring ways to improve their return abilities. Atlanta added Ray McLeod from the 49ers, so he's a shoo-in for that job, but if an injury pops up, you want to have a good backup plan in place, and that could be someone like Hiliare. So here's Atlanta's wide receiver room. These guys are at the bottom of the depth chart. You see Terry Fontenot working more on like the 90th man roster than maybe the 53rd guy on the roster, and I think that just speaks to the confidence that this front office has in the coaching staff with Raheem Morris to turn some of these lower-level signings into potential players that can crack a roster. So with those 2 signings, I just want to refresh everyone's memories on some of the other small signings Atlanta has made over the last few weeks. Again, all these players are far from locks to make the 53-man roster. In fact, I think all these players are much more likely to be competing for a practice squad spot than an actual 53-man roster spot. Now, next up on the show, speaking of additions, the Falcons added 4 new limited owners, so we'll introduce you guys to them. But before we get to that, if you want to get a Falcons t-shirt combo on sale, go to chatsports.com/Falcons combo. You're not just getting 1 shirt, you're getting 2 shirts, and they're on sale. So if you want to up your Atlanta Falcons wardrobe a little bit, we know how hot it can get in the summer while repping your favorite squad. Go to chatsports.com/Falcons combo. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. I'm not a big online shopper. My fiance is. And so we're always getting packages, and it's never for me. But when I do get a package, like, that's a high that I can see why she chases. So if you also want to get a package, like, it's a great thing to get. Chatsports.com/Falcons combo. So let's talk about some of the ownership news. I know this isn't the most exciting headline in the world, but the Atlanta Falcons added 4 new limited partners to their ownership group. Arthur Blank still retains a vast majority control of the team, right around 70%. But the new 4 new 4 limited partners are Rosalind Brewer, Dominique Dawes, Will Packer, and Rashaun Williams. So all 4 African Americans joining the Atlanta Falcons ownership group. Arthur Blank called them, quote, impressive leaders. So I didn't know these people all that well, so I thought maybe you guys don't as well. So I shared their resumes with you guys here. Rosalind Brewer, she is the COO of Starbucks. She was also high up in Walgreens and I think Sam's Club as well. So You want to talk about a successful businesswoman? There you have it, Rosalind Brewer. She also has experience in or works in the Arthur M. Blank Foundation, so you can see the connections and ties she has to Arthur Blank already. Dominique Dawes, three-time Olympic gymnast, won a gold at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, also won 3 bronze medals as well. Will Packer is a filmmaker. I just put some of the movies that I recognize: Ride Along, Night School. Kevin Hart was in them. And then Rashaun Williams, a venture capitalist. So it's not clear what percentage of stake these people have in the Atlanta Falcons. My guess is we're looking at like 0.1 to like 2%. That's just a rough estimate. Usually these ownership additions are very, very, very minuscule. They probably all kind of group together a little bit and are sharing some level of a stake in the team. But exciting stuff. I mean, for them, of course. My only rule for new owners and owners in general: spend money. Don't be poor, because you're not poor. You own a team that Forbes valued at $4.7 billion. Now, I don't think these 4 new limited owners will have any say at all in like free agent signings, but if there is a day where something comes across their desk, we're like, hey, the team wants to improve this. Would you be open to spending the money? Spend the money. Welcome to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, what would your first act as a Falcons owner be? I always love to close my eyes at night and think, win the lottery. And the ultimate goal is to own a sports team, because then you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And everyone believes that they would be a great GM. And I definitely am in that camp as well. But what would your first act as the Falcons owner be? For me, burn these jerseys. Thank goodness Arthur Smith put these jerseys in the closet last year. If you were wondering, like, where happened to the gradient jerseys? Came out in 2020. They did not see the field in 2023. It's not clear if they are gone forever or if just Arthur Smith hated them and maybe Raheem Morris likes them, so he will bring them back in 2024. But I don't know about you guys. These are the worst jerseys maybe in all professional sports. Man, really going through all 4 leagues, they're bad. They're dangerously bad. They kind of remind me of my 9th birthday party. I had my golden birthday, had a World Cup soccer tournament. We had 4 countries represented: Brazil, France, Italy, Spain. And the jerseys that we wore for my 9th birthday for Team Spain, they looked kind of like this. I was 9. Cannot wear these in the NFL. So burn them. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Is it Wednesday already? Hump day, baby. And we'll see you all later.